Imagine playing chess in a world where ELO doesn't exist. No rating system whatsoever. That would mean no points won and no points lost. What would that mean to you? To me, it would mean that I wouldn't think about how many points I would lose if I don't play well. Hence, there would be much less stress and frustration, and as a consequence, much less tilting. Moreover, in this imaginary world, I would face every opponent in the same way. I wouldn't be biased by the rating. I would focus on just playing chess. Yeah, just playing chess. This is what I craved for, and one day I decided to free myself from this rating system once and for all. I downloaded a couple of extensions and managed to hide all my ratings on chess.com. Of course, my rating kept changing, but I just didn't see it, and I wouldn't be affected by it. Alright, so now I won't get distracted by my chess rating, but how can I maximize my chess improvement? This was the question that led me to designing my very first chess routine, and to really test it if it worked, I became my own guinea pig. I strictly followed this chess routine for exactly 365 days. A chess experiment carried out for 1 full year without ever knowing my chess rating in the meanwhile. In this video, I will show you all the steps of my chess routine, and make sure to stick around till the end because I'm going to reveal how much my rating has changed. Let's first add some context. I started this big experiment on September the 1st, 2024. And back then, my rating was 1400. Yeah, I know it's January 2026 and it's been more than 1 year, but bear with me. So being an adult learner really sucks. First of all, because it sucks to be defeated by a kid. And on the other hand, it mainly sucks because as adults, we cannot dedicate as much time to our hobbies as we wanted. I wanted to take this experiment really seriously. So I told myself that I would start my chess routine on a certain day, only and only if I could dedicate the right amount of time and energies to it. So if I was in the right conditions for the experiment, I would follow my routine and play on chess.com. While if I already knew that I had little time or something, then I would just skip that day of my routine and play some random chess games on Lichess instead. So this is why I started the experiment on September the 1st, 2024, and I did my last day of the experiment, the 365th day, on January the 24th, 2026. Alright, let's dive into the routine itself. So the very first thing I wanted to improve was my visualization of the board. What I mean by that is to actually see all the possible moves that can be made. So many times it happened that I didn't consider some candidate moves just because I didn't see them. And the reasons was that I wasn't used to constantly consider the full range of movements of each and every piece on the chessboard. The chessboard is a big place, and when a lot of things are going on, it's really hard to consider everything. That's why I decided to start my routine with this simple exercise. I would pick a random puzzle from Lichess just to get a random chess position, and instead of solving the puzzle, I would just observe the position and then write down every single possible move, including, and this is the most important part, the moves that will become available if some pieces are moved. For example, in this position, I wouldn't just write down the moves that the rook can make right now, but I would also write down, for example, rook f3. Right now it's not possible, but it might become, right? So rook f3, rook f4, f5, and so on. Rook takes the knight, rook takes f6, and so on. Or just look at this queen, for example. Of course, right now the moves are limited, but I need this exercise to practice the visualization, right? And I need to see that this queen one day, not right now, of course, but one day might go here on a8 and give a check on the king if this rook is not there, for example. So, I just needed to get used to consider all these possible moves. My goal was simply increase my awareness of what's going on the chessboard. Teichmann said that chess is 99% tactics. Now, I don't know how true this statement actually is, but I do know that I've heard so many people recommending training tactics on a regular basis. Everyone says to do puzzles, puzzles, and puzzles. But before this experiment, I just didn't like puzzles that much and was never consistent. But then I told myself, if chess coaches and very strong chess players all recommend doing puzzles, who am I not to follow their advice? So I started doing puzzles. And I mean a lot of puzzles. For this part of the routine, I prefer chess.com, so I would go to puzzle and custom puzzles. And here I would select the rating range from 1800 to 2200. And I will start my tactic training exactly like this. First doing 15 puzzles from all themes, then doing 5 puzzles from mate in 1, then 10 puzzles from mate in 2, 5 puzzles from mate in 3 plus, afterwards 5 puzzles from pawn endgame, and finally 5 puzzles from rook endgame. That's a total of 45 puzzles. Yeah, 45 puzzles every single day of my routine. And for me, the key part of this section was trying to complete the puzzle totally in my mind. So I wouldn't just mindlessly try some moves and see if they worked and then continue like that. No, I would look at the position and solve the entire puzzle in my mind first. And only that, check if it works. Besides solving chess puzzles, I also wanted to improve my calculation skills. And I'm not talking about tactics or combinations. I mean sheer calculation, which is moving the pieces in my mind and going ahead for as many moves as possible without missing anything. Because I remember that whenever I tried to calculate something, I would just mess up because I thought that a piece was still there, but it wasn't anymore, or the other way around. I've heard that this is a slightly more advanced skill, so I didn't want to do too much of it, and I decided to do only one calculation exercise per day. So in this position, for example, I would have to calculate that first I take the rook with the bishop, hanging my other rook on c7. So if rook takes c7, then I play rook e8, threatening a discovered check and actually checkmate on the back rank. So black needs to get some luft, for example, f6 or f5. And I would then actually play bishop d6, discovered check. King f7, now attacking my rook while my bishop was attacking their rook. So first I win a tempo with rook f8 check. The king must move, and then I can take their rook with bishop takes c7. So let's look at it. And now check, and I win the rook. So I need to find the right sequence, I write it down, and only after that I check if it's correct. Alright, so at this point of my routine, I'm usually pretty warmed up, my brain is active, it has been engaged with chess for a while, and it's time to play chess. So this part is extremely important. Before my routine, I remember playing chess very randomly, starting a game whenever I wanted, instead of starting a game when I was ready for a game. I don't know how many points I've lost just because I started a game when I was tired, busy, distracted, or whatever. So this was a big game changer. Playing chess when you are in the right state is really like playing a different board game. I wanted to focus on rapid, and I wanted to focus on playing good chess. What I mean by that is that the point of my experiment wasn't to raise my rating, but to improve at chess. So I chose the game settings accordingly. So the first setting, very important, is the time format. And I picked 15 plus 10. Like this, I won't win a game because my opponent ran out of time or because they made a stupid blunder because they were in time trouble. I want me and my opponent to have all the time to think about the position and to consider the right moves without rushing. The second setting is about my opponent's rating. So I would pick that this rating range would go from a -25, compared to mine, of course, to a +100. I chose to get paired with slightly stronger opponents. And again, maybe this wasn't a great choice for my rating, but I believe that playing against stronger players will make you stronger in the long run. And I think that these two settings played a huge role in my improvement, because I gotta say that I didn't see many stupid blunders, neither from me nor from my opponents. And it really felt like playing 15+10 forced me to play better, to develop a better understanding of the chess positions. Since there are other parts of the routine, and since I have limited time to dedicate to chess, I played only one game per each chess sessions. One game only, regardless of the result. So 365 days in total, right? That means 365 chess sessions and 365 games. That's it. Now probably comes the most important part of the entire routine: thoroughly analyzing the game I've just played. I've heard several people saying that the best way to play chess is to stop playing bad chess, which sounded like obvious, so that's a useless tip, right? But actually really makes sense if you think about it. So in order to play good chess, I should not play bad chess. So all I need to do is to understand what makes me play bad chess. So what are my mistakes? Once I identify my mistakes, I should understand why I make them. And once I identify the causes, then I can get rid of them. But all of this is possible only if you thoroughly analyze your games and the reasons behind your mistakes. This is why I created two files. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, please like and subscribe to support the channel. For you it's free, but for me it really would mean a lot. Alright, back to the video. So in the first file we find this chart where I would write, first of all, the number of the game I'm playing in my chess routine. So as we can see, this is a total of 365 games. Then I would write the date of the game, and then the precision of that game. So how good or how bad I play that precision compared to a computer. Afterwards, I would also write down the game rating that chess.com would give me. And here comes the most important part. I would analyze my mistakes. I would write down every single time I made a mistake, and then also, and most importantly, the reason why I made it. So let's take this game, for example. I played with a relatively low precision, only 64.2%, and the game rating was 1100, so that's below my rating. Okay, let's understand what happened. The first mistake I did was what? Unnecessary trade. And I asked myself, why did I trade if it wasn't necessary? And the reason is that I wanted to simplify the position. So, this really helped me understand what is the thought process behind my decisions during a game. So the second mistake was an opponent's collaboration syndrome. This is the name that I gave to this kind of mistake that I did and still do quite often, which is basically considering only that the opponent will do some moves that actually turn out to be good for me. So it's like the opponent is collaborating with me, and this is really a syndrome because you shouldn't calculate like that. So why did I do that? And it's because I didn't think that there was any other good move from my opponent. All right, this tells me that I have this bias while playing and teaches me that I should actually force myself to ask myself, okay, is there any other good move for my opponent? Is there any other better move for my opponent? Then let's see, another mistake was unnecessary attack that actually helped the opponent. This also happens very often. And why is that? Because underestimated the opponent's counterplay. Okay, so this is another important factor. I gotta consider my opponent's counterplay if I throw an attack. So what's gonna happen after that attack? And again, opponent's collaboration syndrome. Okay, so I just did this for every single game. Then, of course, sometimes, I don't know, in this game, I just neglected a pawn, but yeah, I shouldn't do it. And I asked myself, why did I neglect a pawn? And it was because I was too focused on attacking, which can be good sometimes, but that's not how I should play chess, right? And in other games, I basically didn't do anything wrong and it was all good. So, okay, that happens also. But yeah, the most important part is writing down these mistakes and the reasons behind them. And by the way, it's very important to notice that in this chart, I never wrote if I won that game or if I lost. And since I don't know my rating, I didn't write how my rating changed. And that's because I don't care if I win or lose a game. I don't care if I get points or lose points. All I care about is how I play chess, is how many mistakes I make and how I can avoid them. So every 50 games, I would then just count all the mistakes I did till that point and sum them up in order to track the trends of my mistakes over time. So in this chart, we actually see all the mistakes and their sum and their trend over time. So for example, let's see that here, a necessary attack that actually helped opponent, right? In the first batch, so in the first 50 games I played, it's a mistake I did 4 times. Then in the second batch, I did it only twice in 50 games, right? Then again, 5, 3, then 0 in the 5th batch, then only once, and then 0 again. So this helped me understand that, okay, I tend to do this mistake, and like that I can focus on it and I can focus on avoiding it. So this, I would say, it's a mistake that it's a problem that I solved. I don't do it that often. And the same applies for every other kind of mistake. This might look boring and time-taking, but I swear that it really helped me become more aware of myself and my way of playing. Okay, openings are a very hot topic in chess, and I think that people tend to get obsessed with them. I've heard many strong players saying that openings don't matter that much when you're a beginner intermediate player, but of course that doesn't mean that they're useless. So we shouldn't totally neglect them. Before this experiment, I already created a small repertoire of mine, but didn't study it in depth. I just knew some moves of some lines and the basic ideas of the positions that I would get to play. Since this shouldn't have been the main focus of my routine, I decided to improve my opening knowledge organically by using a chess engine after my games. And that's how I created these Excel files. Let's take the Caro-Kann defense, for example. So e4, c6, then I would go for d6. And if the opponent plays d5, then I know that there are some variations, right? There is knight c3, the classical variation, the advanced variation, the exchange variation, or the fantasy variation. So sometimes I would write here lines or knowledge, variations and stuff that I see from YouTube or from a book or something. Now let's focus on the fantasy variation because that's the line that I play against the Caro-Kann. And we can see that here I just focus more on all the possible moves that can happen, but it's not that I study all of them altogether. I just add a new line, a new variation, every single time it happens in a game that I played. So for example, we know that, okay, what is that? Here I play f3, right? So he takes, I take back, f takes e4, right? And now I see that black has some possible moves, right? If they play knight f3, I know that this is a wrong move, and then I go on in the line and see what happens. Then sometimes they play e5, so I understand that, okay, I should do this or that. If I do d takes e5, it's a big mistake for white. So maybe I do this mistake in one of my games, but then I check it with the engine and understand why it's a mistake. And I know that the best continuation is going to be knight f3. So that's what I'm going to play next time. For example, next time I play knight f3, and now they play what? Bishop g4, for example, or e takes d4. And now, you know, there is another variation. This is the whole opening tree that spreads from the fantasy variation, for example. And yeah, I just add a new line every single time it happens in one of my games. So this is how I study openings now. And it feels easier and smarter because if I study all the lines of my repertoire all together, I will just spend a lot of time to do what? To just end up getting overwhelmed, tired, and I know that I will not remember them for long because maybe I will play the next Caracan, I don't know, after 10 days, right? So doing it like that, it feels like the best way for me to learn new opening lines, to revise them, of course, and to keep them all at the same level of memory. All right, this is the final step of my chess routine, and it's the one I've fallen in love the most with. Chess books. Okay, probably it's because I'm a bookworm, but I really believe that chess books have given me the biggest help. I don't want to make this video even longer, so I will not go over all the chess books that I studied in this period, but I do want to say that starting from chess books finally gave me a complete vision of the game. I started studying chess books from scratch, as if I was a complete beginner. And mainly because I always regretted that my chess knowledge was a patchwork of knowledge bits that I picked up here and there from YouTube videos that I didn't really know if are reliable or not. And that's just not the way to learn something, in my opinion. I guess it works wonders for a lot of people out there, but it doesn't work for me. It's like if you want to learn a new language. In my personal opinion, a language course characterized by specific goals and classes that provide the new information in a structured way is just better than going directly there and trying to learn the language on the spot by experiencing random situations. I'm not saying that you can't learn a language that way. Of course you can, and I'm sure that for a lot of people that's the best way to do it. But it's just not the way I like for myself. So yeah, before chess books, my chess knowledge was very limited, full of gaps, and not well structured. And now my knowledge is still limited, but at least it has a sort of flow. It feels smooth and less chaotic. And now the moment everyone was waiting for. The big revelation. How much rating did I actually gain after this experiment? I gotta be honest. When I was planning the shooting of this scene, I first thought that I just wouldn't reveal any number. The whole point of the experiment was to get rid of the shackles of the ELO system, and I thought that bringing it back would kind of disrespect all the things that I learned during the process. But I don't want to deceive my viewers, so as I promised, I will show you my current rating. I just want to say that regardless of the digits we're about to see, I feel like I've become a totally different chess player. Don't get me wrong, I still suck at chess and I'm terrible compared to all the good chess players out there. But thanks to this experiment, I've definitely improved my visualization. I'm so much faster at spotting tactics now. I feel confident calculating some moves ahead. I got a broader opening repertoire. I now have a more coherent and polyedric knowledge of the game. And I am familiar with the flaws and the biases of the way I play chess. So to be honest, this is a win in my book. No matter what my rating is going to say, I can't say the experiment has failed. Okay, the experiment has failed. My current rating is 1669, with my highest rating of 1715. Let's check. Maybe let's go all time and see the improving process. Okay, I started. Yeah, here I took a break, I remember. Exactly, on November the 1st, 2024, I did my first game, and I was 1408. And then I started, and I went all the way to 1732 sometime. Yeah, here I guess was my peak. And then, oh yeah, after Christmas vacation, when I didn't play any chess, I had a really bad time. And okay, now it's going up again, and let's see what happens. Okay, the experiment has failed. No, jokes aside, I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest. After not caring about my rating for so long, it kind of feels weird to see this number and feel something. I don't know, it's really just a number. If it had been higher or lower, it wouldn't have changed at all the work I did and all the things I learned. So yeah, the number itself looks pretty meaningless. All right, guys, what do you think about this experiment? What did I do right and what did I do wrong? Do you think it was worth it to commit for so long to something like this? Or have I just wasted my time and maybe there was a faster way to improve? I don't know, but I would really love to hear your opinion. I would love to see the comment section under this video become a nice corner where we can discuss politely about our opinions and learn from each other's experiences.